Hey bestie, welcome back to episode 2 of Author's Purpose, and I'm not gonna lie, the first episode did give me major insecurities because I breathe a lot, as so, I don't know why I do that, that's just something that I do. I'm contemplating editing it out or not, but we will see. I don't know, I'm just probably gonna listen to a few podcasts and then make a conscious note if they edit out their breathing or not. Maybe they don't breathe. Who knows? But today we're going to be talking about two things. As always, I'm going to recap my last week, and we're also going to go ahead and talk about a topic. And our topic today is relationships. Specifically romantic relationships in the queer community with an emphasis on bisexuality. Because, girl, I'm one of the. Oop, how rude of that car. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. We're specifically going to be talking about romantic relationships. And when I say romantic relationships, I mean an emphasis on the queer bisexual ones, because don't we know a lot about that? And let's just get started. Okay, so far as my week of January 2024 through the 8th through the 14th, it was pretty solid, if I remember. That may be me lying, because I have a tendency to just be like, okay, if nothing major happened in that week, that was a good week. It was a solid week. But let me pull up my journal and we shall see if I actually felt that way during the week. So, but from what I remember, it wasn't that bad. Okay. It was like a bit of all over the placeness. That's the actual tea, I guess. It was very much. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a scheduler. I know what I'm doing at all times. Like, if I look at the schedule and on the 9th, I recorded my YouTube script. I'm just having a hard time editing them at 4:30 through 6:30. Like, if I have a whole schedule. But it was messy in the sense of work, particularly. We're getting a new general manager, GM, and yeah, it's just like work is a mess. Like, nobody knows what they're doing. I am a crew trainer and I'm not supposed to be doing the managerial duties, but I find myself doing them. Like, it's very sick. Also, my brother's birthday was Thursday, so that was interesting. He's old enough for me to go, wow, I am so old now. I'm older than I thought I am, because I remember when he was first born. So for him to be pretty old, I'm like, that's interesting. Tuesday, let's just go through it day by day. Monday, I went to work and I just did that. Like, that was my whole day because I woke up pretty late and I was extremely annoyed by that. But it was very slow at work, so I ended up working on like my book, Built for Pain. Tuesday, I was off finally, so I just start working on my book, honestly, and I took a nice long hour and a half shower where I cleansed my body and shaved and all of that jazz. I mean, love the water, very tranquil vibes. I also wrote a script for one of my YouTube videos, and I was highly annoyed Tuesday because I was also supposed to 7 p.m. and then we stay together and sleep together, so they were just supposed to be over here around 7 p.m. Was the person I'm talking to, and they weren't. They canceled on me, and let me tell you, the quickest way to make me just go like, I don't want to even indulge in you is for you to mess up my schedule or like reschedule something and then you cancel. And it's one thing to be like, okay, I got sick or an emergency happened, but it's another thing to just cancel. And I'm not saying that's what he did, but it's still annoying regardless of the fact. Cancel is a cancel, or for you to mysteriously, magically want me to do something when we didn't discuss it like that day. Like you'll come up, it's like 12 and you'll come up to me at 12:30 and ask me, can I go to a meeting at 6? Like that's annoying because I'm very meticulous in my schedule. So it's like, you don't schedule in advance, you don't get my time is money. And people often ask me like, oh, how do you keep such a tight schedule? Just say no. Like I feel like in Gen Z especially, like we have a hard time saying no, and we spread ourselves thin a lot. But the power of no is very powerful. If you just go and say, no, I'm not doing that, it will go a very, very long way. And that's how I kind of keep my schedule together, because a lot of this stuff is based off of me, first and foremost, and then the stuff that is based off of other people. It's like I trust those other people to take my time seriously and go about what we plan to do together. And if I see you repeatedly for what I deem not a good reason, mess up my schedule, then I just take you off of it, and that'd be that. So that's like my number one like pet peeve, is just not doing what's in the schedule. And it's cool to have some spontaneity and do this off the cuff, but at the very least, everything on the schedule needs to be done. So that irritated me when I finished everything, and the only box I couldn't check off was hang out with the person I'm talking to. And it's very interesting when you have, for me at least, a goal based off of something else, like someone else, or someone like other than yourself. Like I can get up and choose to shower, whereas I can't record a podcast episode, my other podcast, Author's Purpose, without an author. So it's like that task is not all entirely based off of you. So some of that is trust for that other person to do what they have to do. It's like a group project, and those tasks are very annoying, but they're satisfying, because those are typically something you couldn't do alone. So when you do complete it, it's like, wow, I have a community around me that's really supporting me. But yeah, so Tuesday I was highly annoyed by that, but I made up for that and talked to my close friend, and we just kind of just talked in that spot that I was supposed to hang out. Oh, and I let it be known that I was annoyed. And then they rescheduled for Wednesday, so I had to move some things around, and canceled again, which was very much. I was also highly annoyed Wednesday. That made me more annoyed because you rescheduled to Wednesday, and you are the one that said no again. So that just made me want to go like, you know what? I do not care. Let's wrap this up. So, yeah, that's how I was feeling about that. But anyway, in the morning, I was feeling pretty good because I was thinking like, okay, we reschedule. We're gonna hang out today instead of Tuesday, and I just worked on my book some more. As you can see, this is a theme. I in midday-ish, I got on the bus because I don't have a car. Mother wrecked my car, got in an accident, so I was out in the cold, the freezing cold, the below 30s weather, and my bus doesn't go directly to my work, so I had to walk. So that was interesting. It was a freezing experience. Thursday, brother's birthday. It was interesting. I mostly edited books. I was also off this day. Then I wrote another YouTube script concept idea, and then I'm supposed to also on this day hang out with the person I'm talking to. Yeah, we did. I was getting a bit anxious this day because it was like that was like the theme of this day is anxiousness, because I was like really wanted my book to get done. I really wanted my podcast to be done. Like I just wanted things to be done, and it was like this day, like I kind of realized like I'm in a stage of my growth where there's nothing more that I can do. I'm just waiting on things. So, and it's very difficult for me because I'm very proactive, very go get, very if you're taking too long, I'll just do it myself mentality. So for me to not have anything to do and I just have to wait on it is very extremely frustrating. That's just kind of what I realized that day. It's like I'm in a stage of waiting for everything, like my degree, my diploma, all of that. Like just waiting. I have all the credits. I'm just waiting. Getting my bank account set up, my investing accounts. I'm just waiting. Like it's all of that. There's nothing I could do. So that's annoying. But yeah, we did hang out, and it was good. It was a good hangout, but it was still kind of annoying from Tuesday and Wednesday. Friday, I was supposed to post a YouTube video. I did not because I have a new editing software and it's very like hard. I'm just like, what is happening? So I decided to look up like online courses to give me some guidance, and I found one, and I'm gonna start that soon. And then I just kind of went on a rabbit hole of Coursera courses, like from UPenn or entrepreneurship. Like I just went because I love me some LinkedIn and I love me some certifications. So I just went out on this whole rabbit hole of signing up, not really signing up, but saving some of these courses so that I can sign up for them. And yeah. So that was very much the move, and this made me feel a little bit better because I had something I can proactively control and work through. So I kind of woke up late, got on the bus, walked to work, and then went to work, and it was very slow. And the position I was in was one where you just sat down and kind of just tapped on the screen. So in between the slownesses, I started working on courses. The course I was working on is entrepreneurship at University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton School of Business Online. So that was cool learning about that because I do want to start my business as soon as possible. So I really like that. Gave me a source of comfort because I was no longer just sitting waiting on something. I was just focused on this thing that I was actively doing. Then Saturday, I had like some cute moments with the person I'm talking to. Then I edited my book. You can see a real theme here. And I signed up for tutoring. I've been a part of this organization called Learn to Be for about like 4 or 5 years now, and basically it assigns you with someone who needs help with a subject that you're good in, and you just tutor them, and you get community service hours. First of all, I think service is a big part of every community, and we need to teach kids to just give back to their community, not because they want something, but because that's the way of the world. And so I really want to work towards getting this award. Uh, it's it's really not an award, but it's just like, can you get to 250 um, tutoring hours in a 12-month period? So, and yeah, I want to do that. So I want to give my hand at that. So I actually signed up back up on that website and got 2 students, and I'm trying to do 4 hours of tutoring a week. And so that was just Saturday. I was just kind of get that started. I got 1 student, and we kind of botched up the times, and the website is supposed to automatically translate like our time zones to the other person's time zone, and it didn't. So my student was up at 8 a.m. in my meeting, and I felt so bad, so we had to reschedule. Yeah. And so I didn't get any hour that day. Sunday, we did something similar where this time it was kind of, I thought it would work with my schedule, but it really didn't. So we finished that Sunday. We did an hour of tutoring in algebra, and yeah, I asked them like, let's reschedule, and now we finally have a good day. My other student, I don't tutor until Wednesday. No, I tutor actually Tuesday and Thursday. So I'm recording this on a Wednesday. So yeah. No, I'm not recording this on Wednesday. I don't know my days. This is what happens when you sit in the house and you're just waiting. Time squishes together, melts together. But no, I tutor them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. One of my students, it's a Tuesday. I'm going to be in the house tutoring them later on today. My other student, I tutor on Saturdays and Sundays. So yeah. So Sunday I did finish that tutoring, got my hour. It felt very nice to see my community service hours tick up by 1 hour, because I was just like, that haven't happened in a long time, because I've just been so busy with living, not even living, surviving. And so that was just very interesting. But besides that, I also, like, anything that I didn't get to complete this week, I goals wise, I started completing, because Sundays is always my open time slot for like, oh, if you did everything, just have a rest. If you didn't work on the stuff you didn't do. And then I also, redo my schedule, redo my to-do-list. Love the to-do-list app. And then got on the bus, walked, and went to work. So that was my week. Like I said, it was a pretty solid week. Had its ups, had its downs, just like any other solid week. But let's get into the topic at hand. So I kind of want to talk more specifically about my experience and my affinity and stuff towards romance and sex and all of that jazz. So for me, I am a bisexual man, cisgen man, cisgendered, and that has shaped a lot of who I am. But I do think when you are a queer person, especially a bisexual queer person, it comes with double-sided negativity, where you have the gay side being the gays and the girlies being pick a side, you're straight, and then you have the straight side being like you're gay, like you're never good enough to fit into one particular category. And I just feel as if that's a theme in my life. Like for real, like as far as like my age and my maturity, they don't seem to match. And all of my life I had like these two opposing friend groups, one with a lot more older mature people, one with a lot more younger mature people. And it was like, on one hand, I couldn't fit in with the younger people that were my age because it was like we just didn't have the same maturity level. We didn't think about the same things. I was thinking about working full-time jobs or um, managing bank accounts, investing accounts, saving for retirement, while they were thinking about making babies. No tea, no shade. Um, Whereas the other side, it was like, okay, you are mature like us, you are smart like us, but um, we have access to different things because we're different age. As far as like, I'm 17, most of my older friends are like 18s and their early to mid 20s. So it's like, they just have access to things that I can't get a hold of yet, or they have a different culture, different references. It's a bit more conservative, typically. Whereas I really like how liberating it feels to be young. Like the younger people, they're not to be played with. Like they say, "Oh, you want us to work? We're not doing that." Like they don't be messing around. Whereas the older generation, especially the older friends I have, they're a bit more Christian Bible thumpery, and so it's like it's always been a constant battle between I'm not good enough on either side. And I definitely feel that with my bisexuality. So, and then it's like, it causes, especially because we live in a monogamous society. So, a lot of that comes from you're only supposed to, I'm using air quotes, you can't see it, have one partner at a time. And that means you can't fully manifest bisexuality much. I think everybody should either be bisexual or pansexual. Said what I said. But anyway, if we're gonna teach anybody to be any sex, it should be bisexual and pansexual. But um, it's like you can't manifest that in a monogamous society because you only can have one partner, and that partner is typically male or female. So it's like you only see one side of your whole self, and I feel like this feeds into the narrative of us being half of a whole. You have a gay side, quote unquote, and a straight side, and that's not the truth because two halves don't always make the same whole. He said what he said. I said what I said. And I just feel like you're separating us and putting us into boxes where in reality we're our own distinct thing with our own challenges, and we're our own whole thing. We're not snippets of any community. We are our own community, which is very interesting. I also talked about something similar on my first episode of Author's Purpose. If you want to go watch, I plug Author's Purpose a lot. But anyway, yeah. So it's just like it's so weird, and then I feel like we're so privileged and unprivileged in a sense, bisexuals, when it comes to queer people, because in the gay community specifically, I feel like there's an emphasis on sex a lot, like grinder, one night stands, just having a sexual relationship, but not necessarily a friendship because of the lack of experiences in youth. You can't really, the society likes to say they like gay people, they don't. That's the hot truth. And so it's like, as a kid, you don't get those same sleepovers with, boys you like as a gay person. You don't get the kisses, the proms, all of that typically. There's always exceptions to the rules. So the community as a whole has shifted to this very much, repressed sexual energy, because if you don't get it, if you've been fiending for something or you've been curious about something and all your life they've been telling you no, trust me, when you get the opportunity to do that thing, you're gonna do it. Like, when you've been feeling, like as a kid, you've been fiending to touch that hot stove. It don't matter how many times your mom said, no, don't do it. You eventually touch the hot stove. But in our case, the hot stove is sex, and the mother is older gay people telling you, like, be careful out here because there are diseases, and then you go out there and you do it and you get a disease. So I just feel like the solution to this is just to have a more whole and well-rounded community. Like, and I do think it's improved over the years from what I've experienced, but I do think it's such a big part of our community, like such a big part. Whereas I feel like we emphasize in the gay community, at least, more sex than we do relationships. Yeah, and I just there's no one solved solution, but I just think this comes down to experience. Until we normalize kids being kids and experimenting, then you always have this subset of kids who are gay who never get to experience or are an equal playing field of straight people. And then on the opposite end of that, straight people take those advantages for granted. Like, they very much do. Like, they get to have these girlfriends and these boyfriends. They get to kiss. They get to play house. da da da. We're not going to say too much on that, but they get to do all of that, those things. And so when they grow older, they don't have a need to fixate on it because they've already had it. Whereas I feel like a lot of bisexual men specifically think they're gay at first because, one, our society hates gay people, but two, in our, human mind, like to work in extremes. So it's like, yeah, I'm gay. I have an attraction to men. So that's one of the aspects. But also I think another aspect is definitely that as a bisexual person, you get to experience the quote-unquote straight side of yourself. I hate that. I'm going to say it how I want to say it now. You get to experience you having, relations with the opposite sex. So you don't necessarily have a strong desire or influence to really like just go at it, because you've already done that. Like, no one ever stopped you for doing that. Whereas with the same sex, and when you finally figure out you're bisexual, it's like, I didn't get to have these experiences, so I'm very much intrigued and curious about the matter. What do I like? What do I not like? And a lot of same-sex relations and things that you do, you have to kind of learn them. Like douching, like certain, like cleaning yourself properly. Like, it's just like a lot of things you have to learn. And so you're very like curious about the community and something you never got to fully indulge in and experience. So you your body and your mind kind of over tips that scale, and you're just like, wow, I think I'm gay. And then you realize, wait, I'm still attracted to the opposite sex. What's going on? So I think like that's where that, like, because all of the bisexual people I've talked to, this is very anecdotal. I am a researcher. I got into Harvard because of my research, so I know how to research, and this is not scientific at all, but I feel like, in my perspective, a lot of people that I know, just bisexual people, that is, always had this moment where they thought they were gay. So it's like, I feel like that's what is happening in that moment. But I'm kind of past all of that, and I'm just kind of tired of my queerness, my blackness, and my maleness. and I know that's such a privileged thing to say, but that's the honest truth. Like, I'm just so indifferent to life right now because of all of the things that I feel like. This is going back to waiting and the anxiousness that I've been feeling since of last week. I feel it's just not going my way. Like, I was talking to a person the other day where I was like, you know I'm in a good position. I'm literally graduating with a STEM honors diploma with an honors degree. I'm going to Harvard in the fall. But none of that matters if I'm not happy, because I'm not happy right now. Like, I'm taking it day by day and I'm living a good, solid life. But I don't want to live a solid life. I want to live a happy life. And like I said, most of this just comes down to the anxiousness I'm feeling about these big picture goals, like turning 18, getting my diploma, getting my degree, going to Harvard. It's like, it just feels like there's literally nothing I can do. So why focus on that? And I feel like this is robbing me of the one thing that got me into Harvard, that got me these degrees, these certificates, which is my agency. And I am honestly quite confused on what to do. I'm honestly quite, I wouldn't say frightened, but it's just robbing me of, it's slowly robbing me of that joy. And it's like, now that I'm fixating, because I'm a fixator, y'all, I fixate on something and then I get it. I work very, very hard and then I get it. I fixated on going to Harvard, worked very, very hard, got in. I fixated on getting a STEM honors diploma, got it. Fixated getting on an honors degree in high school, got it. Fixated on dating, started dating, seriously, like very intense dating. And so I'm fixating on these goals because I really, really want them and I really, really want them now. I'm very impatient, I know. And it's like, that's is going to rob me of the joy I feel when I eventually do hit the goal, because it's not going to meet my expectations because I've been fixating for so long. So, like, I've been fixating to turn 18. So when I do turn 18, I'm going to have these grand, wild expectations, many of which will not come true. And so it's like a zero-sum game where it's like, I don't know how to get out of this cycle. And I'm just trying to distract myself a little bit because I only have 2 months and then I can go at it all I want. I'm not going to be anxious. I can start to achieve what I need to achieve. And it's like the goals that I do have, they're very like spread out. Like, one is happening in February, one is happening in March, one in May, one in June. It's like they're kind of spread out. It's like they happen in 2 months clusters, but the months are spread out. One is happening in August, the other is happening in July. So it's like it's just, I don't know. I'm just ranting, and sometimes I need to rant, and that's that. But I do see it becoming a problem, and something that I need to kind of learn is how to be more patient, and how to be kinder to myself, and how to just realize that it's okay to wait. It's okay not to do something, because even when I'm not doing nothing, that's doing something for me. Like, in my schedule, I have moments where it's like a gap of me doing whatever I want, and I choose, because it makes me happy, to do research or write my book. Whereas in sometimes I need to just exist, if that makes sense. And it's just something I'm slowly realizing I'm gonna have to learn sooner or later. And I do think the person I'm talking to, that will forever be his name until we get into a serious relationship. Because I do thank him, because it's like he has kind of taught me some of these skills, and he's definitely been a force of positive change him. Don't get me wrong, we definitely argue, we definitely fight, we definitely have our moments of differences, but generally, overall, more than overall, he's definitely been an agent of positive change in my life and broadening my perspective, which is honestly why I love him. But it's still like some lessons you just have to learn on your own. And that is what I'll end this podcast episode with. Thank you so much for listening to this rant about my insecurities, anxiousness, bisexuality, and week. How was your week? Please, please, please tell me, because I do want to hear. You can definitely tell me on my Twitter or my YouTube. And if podcasts have comment sections, go ahead and do that. But thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.